is up, YouTube? It is Seth again, back with another video on a Monday to get the week started off right. I hope you guys all had a good weekend, got some rest, and did whatever you guys need and stayed safe from this virus, you guys. But today I'm just going to do a video on how I got into the sneaker game and the shoes that kind of meant a lot in the beginning for me. And before this video even starts, you guys should comment down below and let me know what sneaker got you into it. Whether it was a Jordan, a Yeezy, even a Fly, an Air Max, something that you guys remember distinctly starting your passion for sneakers. So I'm going to give you what started it and how it took off from there. And I will be uploading another one in a couple days or so stay tuned for that. And if you guys haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button, and check out my other content if you guys are new here. But without further ado, let's just get into it. So the first shoe that we have is the Space Jam 5s. These are released in 2015. That was my freshman summer. There was actually kind of a long story behind them. So I was collecting shoes before I knew about retros or anything like that, about the dope shit. I started liking shoes and just getting, when you could go to the outlets and they had the ones with the extra 20 or 30% off. I was buying a pair of Nikes from those as often as I could. When school came back and we got our school money, I wouldn't spend it on clothes, I'd spend it on shoes like that. So I started mounting shoes like that. Nothing heat, just a lot of Flights, Converse, Vans. I remember even I took a picture with all my shoes spread out through my room, and there was only 2 retros or 3 retros in it actually, and most of them were Flights, Supras. I was into Supras heavy for a while because as I may have said before, Lil Wayne is my favorite artist, so I had a lot of Supras because of him. But then I started getting into Jordans when we went on a road trip. My girlfriend at the time was kind of into them because there was a girl at my school whose father was a teacher, and they were true to the term reseller. They would buy all the releases in a bunch of different sizes, charge up, chalk up, 20, 40, 60 more, and sell them. And so she had all the new releases, and like I said, that girl was friends with my ex at the time, or my girlfriend at the time, ex now. And we went on this road trip, me, my girlfriend, my sister and her boyfriend, and my parents, of course. And one of the last stops we made was in Vegas, and there was if you ever been to Vegas, there's so many shops there. So there was a lot of kicks there, but I remember she saw these in her size and immediately wanted them because that girl that she knew said how this was the first one with the black netting, and she just really liked them. I don't know what it was, but she wanted to get them. Of course, she was a grade school size, so her shoes were I believe 140 plus tax. And of course, as a boyfriend, you'd want to match. So I went and I found them too in my size. Of course, in a men's size, it's 190. So I didn't have the full amount. Like I said, but I went and kind of pulled my mom to the side. Hey, can you lend me the rest? And she did, thank God. I had to do a lot of chores when I got back, a lot of helping out to repay it. But she lent me the rest, and I was able to actually buy these. And 205 as a freshman going on to sophomore was a lot to spend on shoes. Like I said, I used to be getting them from the clearance rack, and I would get my shoes for 50, 60 bucks. But it's how I got started and how I got to 40 pairs of just random shoes. So then I bought these. I was super hyped. From the money she lent me, I had 60 or 70 bucks left over, and just because she kind of blessed me a little bit better. And I found a pair of the all-white mids for 50 bucks on sale. So instantly I had to cop them. So I grabbed 2 pairs of retros, if you guys consider retro 1 mids as counting them. I do, as you guys have seen my retro 1 SneakerTalk video. If you haven't, go check it out. But so I grabbed 2 that summer, and then we came back, and then later that year I went to Denver with my dad and his friend from work to put in the raffle for the Chicago ones from 2015. I believe it was in December. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that. But as you guys know, if you put in a ticket, you need your ID to get the ticket and to redeem it. I didn't know that at the time, so my parents, or my dad and his friend, of course, had their IDs, as they, I mean, adults always have their wallets on them. I didn't have my at that time, and I wasn't able to get a ticket. And my dad kind of hassled, the worker, like, come on, you can't just give him a ticket. You can't just let this one time slide. And he was real adamant that he couldn't. But luckily, his friend that we took up with us actually won on these, and they only released at one spot in Colorado, and that was up in Denver. I can't remember if it was in like Centennial, Denver, or Aurora. I think it was Aurora, but only one spot, like I said, and he was able to hit. And of course, when we go up to pick him up, the same worker that my dad has hassled before was there, and he's like, "Oh, after all that shit you gave me, you still got a pair, huh?" And me and my dad kind of laughed, but I couldn't be more happy to get these, because at the time I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what they were gonna become. Like, I think I checked the last sale and it was like 1,100. I knew nothing about that. It was that my dad said how much he liked these as growing up as a kid, and how much he liked Michael Jordan and how classic this shoe was. So I mean, once your dad likes something, it's obviously a staple to you, and it's something that you want. So those were kind of like the first like two that really took it off for me. The mid whites I only wore like once. I didn't really like them too much, but these I really killed it with. I don't know if I showed you guys the bottom. You can see I had worn those a lot. I worn these one time, and then like I have a thing where I clean my shoes after every wear, and when I cleaned these, a little bit of the red like kind of bled into the soap. I mean, it didn't fade them or nothing, but it freaked me out, so it made me never want to wear them again. So those are only worn once. These are worn a few times. But so that was kind of like my start in it, and that the Chicago's really took it off to where I started buying, more releases and whatnot. But what really, really like made a solid foundation for it was I went over to my friend's, and he had another one of his homies there, and he was super into shoes. So my friend that whose house it was like, hey, you guys are both into shoes, kind of just like introduced it like that. So I was like, oh, for real, you like shoes? He's like, yeah. He's like, so he asked to see those pictures that I posted on Facebook of the collection, and he's like, oh, where's the retros at? So I pointed him to the part of the picture where these two in the mids were at, and then he showed me his collection. It was like 35 pairs, all retros, all the heat at the time. It was like the 2012 Bred 11s, Bred 4s, 2011 Black Cement 3s. It was like all the OG kicks. He had them all, and I was like, damn. And then that's kind of when I really learned about what retro was, about the OG colorways, about what like the numbers are 1 through 23, and then you get back to like 28 to 20 or 34. So I learned like all that, and that's like really what like jump started and made us like a solid foundation for sneakers. But him and his brother were like the same size, so they kind of shared the collection. So that was his and his brother's. So that leads into the next, and the last sneaker I want to talk about in this video, and that's the infrared sixes, the white from 2014. So he had two pairs of these. Like I said, him and his brother shared collection, so they never really bought two pairs. But this one they did. They bought an 8 and a 9. And the 8 was getting a little too small. I mean, keep in mind, even at my freshman year, I was a 10. Like, I would fit anywhere from like 9.5 to 10.5. That's my, like, what I can wear. And he was, like, thinking of getting rid of his 8. So, boom, instantly I thought it was a chance to, buy a shoe that I can't buy in stores. So, I hit him with, like, how much? And he told me, like, I think he told me, like, a bill, like, $80 a bill. Something, like, super low. So, I remember I had this knife. It was, like, one of those folding card knives that you put in your wallet that's, like, the size of, like, a credit card. And I told him, I was like, I'll give you $65 in this knife. And he took it. So that was on a weekend. The morning comes. I got my new shoes, my new infrareds. I'm thinking I'm super hot. I take off the laces and the lace lock. I don't even think I took out the insole, and I crammed my feet in there, man. I make a knuckle. That's what my toes felt like. And I wore them all day at school. I killed my feet. I looked like I was walking on tippy toes. I mean, I was wearing them for what? 7-8 hours. How long is school? The whole day. I came home. Your ankles pop when you twist them like that. You know what I mean? My ankles were killing me. I was walking on my tippy toes. My foot was stuffed. And that was the only time ever that I, did something like, well, I actually can't say that because I did do it again. later on, but that's for another time. But like I said, I mean, I was super hyped. I got them at like $65 and a knife. I mean, come on. You know, eventually I did sell them. I had them for a long time, but this shoe means a lot because of that. Because I remember, you know, that sacrifice, if you will, just for looking good and looking fly like I thought I was. And I mean, just that. I mean, stories like that are kind of what makes, you know, the sneaker community and makes the sneakers mean something to you. I mean, to me, it's more than an article of clothing because it really has defined, you know, a pinnacle in my life where I have opened up a store. Not anymore, unfortunately, but I have opened up a store. I have been in the game, you know, since 2015, which is about 5 years. I mean, it's not the most, but it's definitely a good amount. But I mean, it's like something that I kind of channel a lot through. You know what I'm saying? And that's where this YouTube is coming in and these videos. So I'm really trying my best, you guys. Please, like I said, like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in a couple days with another video. And I hope you guys have a great week.